Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest. We're not disputing that, Cassius, but how does Sonny Liston feel about it? He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
Hold up. Yo. Let me make sure I'm on. What's the word? Happy Monday. Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. It's good to be here. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. Did you kick the week off the way that you needed to? I hope you did. See the title. You already know where we're going with this one. Shout outs to my writers, my poets, my content creators. Shout out to Timu. You dig? You'll never see me spending $250,000 on a piece of jewelry ever in life. That is crazy. That is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. It's we lit. Let me go ahead and bring everybody up to the forefront. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel, repost, let the people know that we are on. I'm curious to know how people feel about this. Sydney and Rob, good evening to both of you. I got a clip on my plate, but I want y'all to grace the stage if you would. What's up?
Yowzers. How y'all doing?
John DeMonco.
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I'm cool. Trying to stay cool. You know?
One second.
Long week ahead. The weather, man, has been like last week we had 3 days worth of rain. Now is nothing but sun beaming down on everything. I can't stand how the weather be switching up like that. And you know it's about to start getting cold here real soon. So unless you're really good at determining how the weather shift, don't get caught slipping and catch pneumonia or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I keep saying layers, layers, layers. I keep plugging myself. Layers. But you know, when it get cold, you want to wear that fresh you can't wear usually. Well, in Florida anyway. Coming from New York, I be wanting to wear that fresh. And at the same time, it'd be like, nope, you better put on some layers so you can take some off, because you know in Florida it'll easily go from 30 degrees to 80 degrees in a heartbeat.
That's a whole fact.
Can you say hi?
Baby.
You say hi?
Hi.
I was like, can you say hi? She said, no, I know hi. Watch my popcorn.
I don't know who y'all are wasting my time on Mondays.
Hey, it's all good, man. How was y'all weekends?
Good now.
Hey, look, before I bring the clip up, I ended up getting my videos and my stuff finished. I sent them out to a couple of different news anchors and stuff like that, just for anybody who's curious. This week, Thursday, 9 o'clock is the final voting for that last 5. We're down to the final 5 or something like that. So it's like, yeah, it's getting real. I'm still like in shock that I'm even this far into it. So I'm telling you, glory and praise to the Most High, and shout outs to everybody, man, that's been supporting and showing love, all that. Appreciate you. I just wanted to give y'all an update on that.
Congrats.
You know why we're here though? Charlie Kirk is still looming social media. Yeah. I'm gonna play the clip, and in no particular order. We're just gonna go around with our initial thoughts and go from there. Shout out to Chef, shout out to everybody that's in the building. Let's really get down to the get down, man. Let me go ahead and run this footage real quick.
Oklahoma bill calls for Charlie Kirk statue at all state colleges. No, thank you. The legislation introduced by Senators Himmler and Goebbels would require every institution of higher education in Oklahoma to devote a prominent location on its main campus near central quads, student unions, or primary entrances to a memorial for Kirk. The plaza must include a statue depicting Kirk either seated at a table with an empty seat across from him or standing with his wife and holding their children. Permanent signage is also required, describing Kirk as a voice of a generation, modern civil rights leader, vocal Christian, martyr for truth and faith, and free speech advocate. Instead of being honest about why he was there to profit off from hate, you have to put this propaganda. The deadline for full construction is March 1st, 2028. If the public colleges fail to comply with the new rules, they may face financial penalties. So we're going to make education in Oklahoma, when we're nearly the last state already, we're going to make them face financial penalties for refusing to put far right-wing propaganda on their campuses. The deadline for full construction is March 1st, 2028. If the public colleges fail to comply with the new rules, they may face financial penalties. In a state that ranks near the very bottom of education, we're going to make colleges suffer because they won't push far-right propaganda.
Don't you just love freedom of speech?
This country is something else.
That's definitely one way to put it. there's already locations that have these up. I'm kind of scatterbrained because I just finished doing a reaction video to Candace Owens speaking on there was some cameras behind him, and on that footage, allegedly, there was no sign of blood. And then I go from that to this, and then it's this. And it's like, all right, what are we doing with this? Either he's racist and he shouldn't be getting so much support, or he's just not that important to be getting this type of attention on him. It's or is it a conspiracy? Was he sacrificed? Was the guy that they claimed the shooter the actual shooter? It's like 5 different situations. What's your initial thoughts on this video? The situation itself, like how y'all feel?
Europe, if you're interested in taking any American citizens, I volunteer as tribute. I'm just, to me, this is all just like half irritating and half like dystopian, where like I keep saying this and people keep pushing back against it, which I think is also silly. Like, he was a person and people should not be killed. Like, obviously we do not have the right to take another human's life, but still, I still do not understand the martyrdom. Like, there have been so many people that have done way more amazing things for people, and we haven't done anything for them. Like, we have never mandated, like, oh, all of these colleges or all of these places of business have to put up Martin Luther King statues or JFK statues or FDR statues. Like, we have widely found them to be immensely important to our American history. We don't even have it for George Washington, yet we're doing it for somebody who had conversations in public on TV. Like, we have hundreds of thousands of YouTubers that do the same exact thing and would preach more equal treatment and more kind things to their viewers. So to me, it's just like, it's a signal of what is happening in our country, that there's so many people that are dying to find a martyr. Like, I was talking to my best friend about this yesterday. It really feels like they're trying to make him the next Jesus. Like, he's their new holy leader that they're trying to praise for his willingness to have a conversation, which I think is really ridiculous, because he had a conversation, sure, but he also promoted a lot of beliefs that a lot of people either were offended by or disagreed with. And he would always end his conversations with people saying, like, oh my God, even though you don't believe in Jesus, I pray that Jesus finds you and that you'll. So even though he says, like, oh, I accept everyone, he's still like, but I want you to convert to Christianity.
Mom, like, I was thinking about this all morning, man. First of all, I don't put nothing past him. Second, I never heard of that guy until his death. People getting fired for speaking up, and my first thought is they're trying to make this like China. They're trying to make this like Russia, Korea, where if you say something, if you speak out against them or call out their wrongdoings, all of a sudden you become outcasted or whatever. I've seen Joy Reid. She put a post, or she did an episode that said that he was used to get the younger people to follow Klan behavior. And said, I heard you just say Europe. Besides maybe like one or two countries, it looked like old boy just went over there and got the clan back together. But I gotta be careful, of course, what I say, because I gotta pay these bills. That it's ignorance, and it's just like them not wanting to take the Confederate statues down. They want to add more up, and it's funny because the Confederates lost. So anytime you see a statue, you really should be reminded of that empire falling. And then always remember that the North is just as racist and terroristic as the South is. So it could be a plant. I don't know. But I do know that violence is the American way. And the first person that came to mind with this is John Kennedy. He was done. Martin Luther King. Every year they say, be peaceful and read the Bible. That man got his head blown off in the middle of broad daylight and was killed in the hospital, smothered. And then Malcolm X, to where they got his own people to do it. But we know that the federal government was tied all in with this. So I wouldn't put it past him for him to be chess piece in order to spew hatred. But because at the end of the day, it appears that he was killed by his own people. So when you threaten the HBCUs, you threaten Blacks, you threaten Hispanics, you threaten Latinos, Asians, something y'all got going on. It's just wild to me.
Never seen somebody memorialized so quick.
They were waiting for that to happen. It felt like as soon as he got killed, they're like, yes, there it is. There's our man. It's also creepy. I don't know if you've seen these videos from the memorial service, but they were literally chanting, white men fight back, white men fight back at his memorial. And I'm like, if that a KKK rally, I don't know what is. That is really, really freaky to watch in our own country.
I brought that up, was that last week when we spoke about Trey Reed. This was right after, damn it. We still haven't even seen enough coverage on that. And from what I'm understanding, Colin Kaepernick is supposed to be funding the private autopsy for that particular situation. So I'm curious to know how that pans out, because if I'm the parents in general, I do not trust anybody outside of who I pay out of pocket to do this particular job. With this right here, again, I don't know anybody who has ever been put on a plaque on a wall in front of a house, in front of a monument. I've never seen this. This is like you said earlier, there's hundreds of different platforms, plenty of men and women who speak like him, some probably more favorable than others. And I highly doubt that, heaven forbid, anything happens to them, they're going to get the same level of treatment. I'm looking at all of this from a broad perspective, and all I can think to myself is, what are they planning? What are they up to? How evil can you be? How manipulative and controlling can you be to use somebody's death like this to make your own political statements. It's like so underhanded and so grimy that you don't think people are that dirty, but there are folks that will literally go to the depths of hell to complete their objectives. I don't think anything is off the table. We can say it's probably a conspiracy. You can look at this however you want, and they've made it where it's enough content because that's what people consider it. They're looking at it like it's just content. They're not seeing the grand scheme of things. You can chop this up for until the end of the year, and I expect it to go that far and probably a little longer, depending on how media spins it.
They want to make a holiday. I've heard some people floating the idea of making a holiday for him. I've also heard that Starbucks was planning on memorializing his favorite drink on the menu. The stuff that they're doing is so wild to me. I keep thinking that this is probably the reaction they wanted with Trump's 3 assassination attempts, quote unquote. Like, I feel like that's what they wanted from those, because truthfully, I don't believe any of them were real. But they, like, it really feels like they were picking him solely for the purpose of being a polarizing figure that would bring out the villainization that Democrats supposedly do. Like, they're trying to instigate us, to make us. They've been seeing, like, we haven't really been participating as heavily in marches. At least my mother-in-law was telling me, like, a lot of Black women have been refusing to do a lot of the marches because it's kind of like, that's what we've been doing. Like, we've been trying to tell you this for so long and y'all didn't listen. So why are we going to do this now that you've chosen to put us in hell? But then also the aspect of, like, you've never listened to us in the past. Like, why are we going to put our lives at risk if you're just not going to you're not going to trust us no matter what we do? And I think that they wanted that with him, where they knew that a lot of people on the left did not like him. And that would be the perfect opportunity for them to have people start saying things, which we know the internet, how that works. People are going to say stuff. And so then they could basically pull out the script and be like, see, look, they're all terrible people. They want to kill everyone. They're violent people. They're criminals. They're Antifa. They're blah, 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 blah. Their whole list of insults, putting us into this box that we're all violent, that we're all hateful, that the Republicans are the ones that are bringing us together, and they're the ones that are making it better for everybody, but we're the ones that are making it difficult. So it really feels like they were just trying to find a divisive figure that they could immortalize and use as kind of like, see, look, this is the type of people that you guys are. This is why you should vote for Republicans, because we actually care about people. Okay, sure. Also, just a funny picture when he gets to heaven and realizes.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Listen, okay, so I've been thinking about this for the last couple months. They got people in a place we don't have capital. We definitely don't have unity. I know for our culture, it's been beaten out of us for years, to the point where we'll look at each other and say, hey, we know what's going on, da, 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 da. But still don't try to do anything about it. And the number one reason is because we got bills, we got families to feed. So I don't knock a lot of people. I do get on the internet warriors and the internet activists and all of that who post all of that, but don't do nothing in person. And I know that anyone who really is actually effective in tearing down the walls of racism, sexism, whatever, gets ostracized, blackballed, blackmailed. And again, they've made it to where it could be done. And the wildest part of it is that this guy, because everybody was like that. You can't be Democrat and not support the Republicans. You can't be Republican and not support the Democrats because they follow the same laws. Any law that they want to change that they really didn't agree with, they got changed. So when you boil it down, how does this stuff keep happening? Because they ain't changed the basic laws that allow this stuff to happen, and to where they can hide in plain sight and do it right in front of our faces, and we can't do nothing about it. It's a travesty because this stuff continues, and you look at Jimmy Kimmel, who I really ain't watched the show or whatever, but now you want to take free speech from who? Who is your beef with? Y'all didn't do nothing to the people from January 6th. Biden pardoned them. Old boy pardoned them. They killed blue lives. Y'all said blue lives matter. They killed them. Y'all said black lives matter. They was killing them. They back. 2 people just got hung. We know that people don't hang themselves like that. Definitely not black folk. Black people ended up missing all over the news lately. And at the end of the day, there's really only one group running around pumping all the hate. And they got a green light to the point where old boy just said he hate anybody who opposes him. And it's like, okay. So you just went back outright to where the rules only apply for you. Where I'm at right now, I ain't a judge or nothing, but I feel bad for anybody living in fear, for anybody looking at the news and believing it and feeling like there's something that could be done about this, because even when Obama was in office, they did everything but call him the N-word. And I'm being politically correct. And some of them did that. And when he called the police stupid for the guy arresting the doctor who broke back into his house because he left his keys outside, they retracted that. When Oprah said this was the first time she felt good to be black, she lost half of her viewership. She had to come back and apologize for that. When she went to the store, I don't know if it was in Poland or Switzerland, they told Oprah she was in the wrong section in the bag store, that she couldn't afford the expensive section. They told Oprah to go to the other side. And I would say this before I pass the mic. I believe in my heart. I believe in my heart of hearts. That's what drove people like Michael Jackson crazy, because here you get on stage and people pass out. They love you. They worship you. And then if you go to a Waffle House in the sundown town, they tell you, man, listen, man, you can't eat here. You can't stay in this hotel. We don't care who you are. If you don't get out of here right now, you out of here. We're going to finish you right then and there. I believe that drives a lot of people crazy because they feel like, well, what's going on? And if the example is that I watched the Jesse Owens movie. First of all, he had to go through the PWI and all that, primarily white institution, and go through all of that. He was a hero when he beat Hitler. But when he came back for his awards, they sent him to the back of the theater. And I know people in the where I'm at right now, they remember having to go through the back. They remember cooking. They remember having to get on the back of the bus. This stuff ain't old like that to where people still alive. And the fact that in a year or two, we could go 50, 60 years backwards and nobody can't fight nothing, first lets me know that the government is on the same page. I don't care what side of the bird you on. And then second, we know what it's always been. And this has never changed. And it took me 20 years to realize I had to read a whole lot of books. I had to read it to the point where I stopped reading a lot. I don't read as much as I should because I become angry because it's like my hands are tied.
Realize they've been playing in your face the entire time. You're angry at yourself. You're angry at them, but you're more angry at yourself because you really didn't put the same level of respect on history as you probably should have. I know I did. I told you before, history was not one of my favorite courses at all. I was a science guy, ironic. But I didn't pay as much attention as I should have. And if I had have done that, I probably would have ended up still at this same destination. But at least there are some things that I could have done differently back then that would have helped in some minute way. Like it wouldn't have reached millions and millions of people, but I could have had different conversations. The conversations matter. But I didn't see the importance of it. These are just a bunch of old dead people who fought and went to war and died. And like the books were boring. Like reading that shit was boring because it was just like, we need you to go over here and tell them we want this. And you got to send the letter here and then you got to sign off on this and that. And then it's like the narration just wasn't really for me. So I just kind of was like, but now it's like, yeah, they understood the assignment. They absolutely did. I really believe that their ancestors, everyone from that time, all of them are, how can I put it? I think, and this just is my opinion, the men and women from these history books are the men and women that are in these government positions. The only difference is this is their legacy that is taken over from where they left off. That's what I gather from it. And so it's like, you know how we talk about generational wealth, generational curses. You pass on certain characteristics and traits. I think this is what this is. And I mean, we turn a blind eye to it. You know, and if you are anywhere near as accurate in your assessment as you say, and we got what, a year, two before it get worse, and we talked about this recently too. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I do want to say the rapture is not tomorrow. Okay? For the people who keep on talking about that, it's not tomorrow. I don't know when it is. You don't. Stop listening to social media. Stop listening to these bloggers and these posts. All I see online scrolling, the rapture is right around the corner. Stop that. What we are looking at is prophecy, though. 1,000%. I don't know if they handpicked him. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe they handpicked him specifically for this? Like, he's the perfect candidate. Because, like, all right, put it like this. I think he's a part of something bigger. I can't confirm or deny that he's really the target. I believe he's a part of a long list of folks that they're using or going to use in the future, because I don't believe that he's going to be the last person. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, I'm not really with death and stuff like that, but I don't believe he's going to be the last. You're going to see more of it. Yeah. That's my question. Do you think this was a targeted situation? Do you think this is something that was just destined to happen regardless? And he just kind of, if it wasn't Charlie Kirk, it was going to be somebody else.
I think it's a direct result of the hate that's being spewed. And the books I was reading is the books they banning now. Straight Black history. The authors that they ostracized, the authors that they clown, the authors that had to go to Paris to feel equal treatment. It's like 20 years of that. And they all repeated the same. It actually becomes redundant. That guy said he could kill somebody in broad daylight in the middle of Manhattan, and his constituents won't tell on him. He's calling people scum of the earth. He's calling people slime. He's getting on here low rating individuals and companies, anything, and even being convicted. The impeachment didn't work. He got impeached twice. And what we don't realize, we focus so much on him that not only does he have certain billionaires in his pocket, he has over 70 million people who still follow him regardless of his behavior. And I am a proponent for second chances. I had 1 million, I appreciate. However, I changed my behavior. And that's the biggest sign of a sorry, apology, remorse that you can give. And not only does he have the green light, now he has gotten the green light to go after people who disagree with him, even if something that they say. So again, if you in that and you feel like that and you believe in this democracy and you believe in this red, white, and blue, then you feel like a vote will change that. And that is like the biggest cockamamie I've ever seen in my life. And it's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? So now when you make an alligator Alcatraz, you boast up the immigration, it becomes, what are you willing to do to get your American pie? You gonna come hate with me, or you gonna get rolled over? To the point where that, like, this is the first time I've ever seen them. I heard they did it in the 50s, but even when they flexed the military might, I think the US did that over like in Cuba. He marched the tanks through DC. You marched the tanks, you marched the fighter jets, like what you got going on, man? It's like, bro, this is not, you know what I'm saying, Korea or China or Russia or Germany. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why it's not like that, because their own people disagree. So at the end of the day, all you're doing is really sparking a fight with your own people. The problem is we get caught in between, because now, okay, if you don't fight for us, we ain't gonna feed you. If you don't fight for us, we ain't gonna feed you. And that was the same thing for the Civil War, when they got all of the blacks and all that, the Americans of African descent. If you fight, we're gonna give you 40 acres of the mule. Woo, woo, woo. So now you fast forward years later, and it's the same situation where you get down and lay down. Because at the end of the day, like, I look at these things, even for the Charlie Kirk situation, which was horrible. I do not condone violence. There was an African American of African descent who had to protect him. So I don't know, you know what I'm saying, if he's on tour with, I don't know if that was his personal security, but you get to a point that we're like, okay, would you take that job? When this guy from the White House is talking, he always has that one or two. He'll have a Latino, he'll have an Asian, one or two. And it's like, yo, do you take those jobs? It's like that movie, The Butler. And, you know, his son was looking at him like, yo, he's, you know, you clean their toilets. He's like, son, I got to do what I got to do. So that dichotomy always, I have to always question, because it's gotten to a point where even now to where it's like, okay, I want to go crazy, especially soundbite wise. Okay, you know what? We need to go viral. Let me get on here and say something stupid. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, nah. And I wonder if ever in that situation, would I take those jobs? Or I wonder, say we get syndicated. Do they do us like Jimmy Kimmel the first time we don't agree? And then worse, do we get killed? Because you know what happens. You know what I'm saying? And the way I look at it right now, if I did get hurt for something that I said or something, or disagreeing with them, then I feel pretty effective.
What was I gonna say? I think also, to me, I was telling again, I had a really long conversation with my friend yesterday because I was quite upset with a lot of the news that was coming out, particularly about what's happening in Palestine and what they're planning on doing with Gaza and everything like that. But I was also talking to her about this, and one of the things that I keep seeing is that all of those that are kind of on his side and are trying to promote this, like, liberals don't care about anyone, they keep bringing up the fact that we are all saying, like, yeah, but what about all these other people that have been forgotten? And we don't give any attention to them. We don't pay attention to the amazing people that we've had throughout our whole history. And then we just have this one person who had conversations and people saw him on YouTube. So instantly he's a martyr. But they're getting mad at us because we keep saying, like, oh, well, he had a family, and like, why aren't we giving respect to other people's families? And they say that's being like, how could we be so cold and callous to somebody who was murdered? Like, how could you say that about him? And you're smearing him on the internet, and you're doing all this to this family and stuff like that. And meanwhile, these people are more than willing to smear any person that they disagree with online. They're more than willing to post all over social media how much they hate trans people, how much they hate people in the LGBT community, people that they hate who are Hispanic, who are Black, who are Jewish, who are anything. They're so willing to spout this hate. But then as soon as we're like, oh, this one person that we disagree with is gone, and to some people it's like, okay, fine, now I don't have to hear that anymore. And some people who were deeply offended by what he said were happy that this happened. They weren't happy that he got killed, but they're happy that they don't have to hear that anymore. And all of these people want to jump on us saying that, oh, we're being heartless because we don't care about him, even though every single one of us is denouncing the fact that he was killed. Like, we just say that we don't understand why he, of all people, need to be immortalized. But the fact that they keep turning on us and making us seem like we're these, like, horrible people for thinking, for possibly having a bad name about somebody that has passed away is ridiculous. Because there's plenty of, I mean, he's obviously not, like, as rotten as other people, but, like, there are plenty of people that are really terrible that people have no problem saying stuff about. And I think it's super hypocritical that all of these complaints are coming from these groups of people that are very willing to spout that type of rhetoric. And they also are responding to this with threats. So they're like, oh, you want to say all that about somebody who was killed, but then they're also going to simultaneously threaten to hurt or kill people. And I think this is also, going off of what you guys were saying, this time period that we're living through is the perfect example of why not learning proper history is going to damage the future. Because number one, learning your history makes you understand where you came from, makes you understand what life used to be like for people. Another parallel is we're having record number like drop-offs of people getting vaccines, and they're saying that we're probably going to start seeing a lot of those older illnesses that we've banished to come back because of all these people who don't want to vaccinate themselves. And part of it is because we don't live in a world where you can die from drinking water, and you can die from eating a mushroom that you found out in the forest, or can die from because your cow, the beef that you took off your cow has been out, like it's all contaminated or whatever. Like, we don't know what it's like to live without vaccines. We don't know what it's like to live under a regime that steals your rights. We don't know what it's like anymore to be so, I mean, some people do still, but most of us don't know what it's like to feel in danger, even in your own neighborhood, in your own home. And so a lot of our society has been pacified into thinking that like this is going to last forever, that we don't have to protect things because things are just going to continue as normal. And it's a really, really dangerous way of thinking, because that allows these people to step in and take over where our forgotten history left off. And the other aspect of understanding history is it allows you to notice the signs before it gets worse. So anybody that has read 1984 or Handmaid's Tale or Parable of the Sower or what's the other one? Animal Farm, like all of these books that we've read in high school or middle school, give you a rundown of what it looks like when this type of stuff happens. Yes, things do like history does not repeat itself exactly, but history has a lot of parallels, a lot of patterns. People follow the same patterns when it comes to like leadership and politics and government and stuff like that. Like most governments really follow the same patterns. And for all in our country, we have had a decline in people's education in general, but also we've had declines in and false taught education involving history. Like most of the history, unless somebody's like deeply interested and investigated it themselves, if you rely on the history taught by schools, you are leaving a lot out. You're not going to understand the depravity that that slaves were exposed to and how they were treated. People will not understand how Italians and the Spanish and the French and the Jewish were treated in our own country. They won't understand what really happened during the civil rights movement and during the 50s and 40s and 30s. People will be blind to what happens when the laws start to get chipped away, as we're seeing right now. We don't know what it's like to go without our First Amendment. We don't know what it's like to go without our right to even just exist freely, like to have news that isn't controlled by somebody. We've never experienced this before. And so as this is happening, because a lot of people don't have that experience, it's easy for them to not even notice or not even realize what's happening. And I see this even from people in my own circle. My talking to my mom, even she is kind of like, well, we went through the 50s and the 60s. Like people have already learned, like we won't go back there because people already know what it was like and blah, 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 blah. And some people just don't understand that enough people have forgotten that it's much easier for them to start coming in and taking the rights that we don't notice. And then not to mention, we live in a society that's deeply distracted. Most people can't go a day without being on their phone. And majority of people who are spending time on their phone are not deeply investigating everything that's happening in the country. They're on TikTok, they're on YouTube, they're on, like, I don't know. So they're usually watching entertainment, or they're watching like opinion pieces, and they're not really understanding the depth of what is actually happening. And then not to mention, there's 1,000 things going on right now. We have a war going on, and we're instigating wars in other countries, and people are being disappeared from this country, and people are being hung mysteriously in this country, and people are being shot in their schools and then in their churches and in their homes. And then we have this group of tyrants that is trying to steal our right to have news media at fair and unbiased coverage, and the right to speak, the right to protest, the right to have, like, they're even trying to steal women's rights to vote, and they're trying to remove certain ethnicities entirely from this country. Like, there's so much going on that if you don't have this background knowledge, it's very easy to be like, it'll be fine. They'll figure it out. I don't have to say anything about it. And then I think the last component is that we're kind of like a rage factory now, where we are so eager to get angry, but we don't do anything with it. We're just angry posting, like, oh my God, can you believe they do that? But then you put it down and go watch TV or hang out and play video games or something like that. It's like, sure, spreading the news is what we need to do. We need to make sure that we don't get silent. So we do need to be spreading these messages, but that's not the only thing we should be doing. Like, you need to combine knowledge with action. And a lot of people are stuck in just the spouting of information and spreading jokes and making comments and stuff like that, but they're not doing the things that we need to be doing, like calling our representatives, walking on Washington, protesting, boycotting, all of these things to let them know that we are not happy with what they're doing to our government.
It's all a clusterfuck. They looking and they say they don't care, so we're gonna keep doing it. Let's test this out. Oh, we got a few that's not really happy with this, but it's not enough of them. So let's get our PR team together and let's kind of brush this off and kind of die down. They're not loud enough, so we can kind of silence this. Then they do something else a little more bold, and something a little more bold. It's like wearing out a dam on teeth. Slowly, surely. Why don't we care? Well, you just said a whole lot. You and Rob. All of that. Huge distractions. Everything is going up. People are angry, but nobody's really doing anything with the anger. Matter of fact, the things that you are doing with the anger doesn't help at all. In fact, it's doing the complete opposite. See, you're taking your energy out on innocent people. You're screaming and you're fighting amongst people who aren't even responsible for the conditions that the communities are in the first place. Isn't that weird? Does that not sit uncomfortably in the conscience of people? Like, I'm thinking about why am I arguing with douchebag 204/85 for trolling on the internet about saying something ridiculous about everything that we see. Instead, I could be taking that same energy and doing something else with it. You got the gang culture we just talked about. You got hoods and I'm not even talking about just in urban areas. I'm talking about in offices and all that. You got these cluster of people who said we're going to stick together and we're going to do whatever it is we do in our prospective locations and areas in life. And this is how our life is going to be. You have people. We have the numbers. Imagine consolidating all of those people and putting them under one umbrella. But it don't look like that's going to work or that's going to happen right now. Because everybody seems to be operating under their own ideology. So these gangs in LA, they could come together and join the protest. That's not going to happen because they're living by a different code. The folks that's in the public setting, like Rob was saying, man, a lot of people are not trying to lose their job. We are scared to lose our income because the way the world is set up, you have to worship and idolize the world. The world is your God. The world provides you your life. But you forget God is the reason why we have the provisions of the world in the first place. But you kind of, what's the word? You forsook him for the world and replaced him with the world. So now everything that you do is from a scarcity mindset. You take away the fruits and the vegetables from the neighborhoods, and then you start spreading everything down, and you raise the taxes on eggs and oranges and apples when we could easily just grow the shit ourselves freely. But see, there's a problem with doing that. You put nothing but negativity on social media. That's all you see scrolling up and down the feed all day. Why do you do that? How does somebody who was charged with 34 different felonies, impeached twice, become a golden standard for humanity? Let me ask y'all something, because I heard Jimmy Kimmel actually got his job back. Does that change anything for y'all? And I also, if I'm not mistaken, there's at least a few million people that unfollow Disney or something like that. Like, what's going on with that? Did you hear anything about that?
Yeah, they got a lot of people were starting to boycott the companies that ABC owned. So like Marvel and Disney, ESPN, I think was another. But yeah, I think at least the last time I looked, Disney had lost a full point in their stocks. And then I think it was like 14% of their viewership or something like that. They lost millions and millions of viewers. And there was a collective of, I think it was like 250 or 450 celebrities that all got together, including like Meryl Streep and a lot of big names, that basically were like, we're not going to work with you unless Jimmy Kimmel comes back. So there was definitely a huge outcry by everyone that supported him, which there's a lot of people, because Jimmy Kimmel was very, in my opinion, middle of the road, like where he would touch on both sides pretty equally. He is, of course, slightly more liberal because most comedians tend to be slightly more liberal, just from my opinion. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, he was very well loved. Like, he's not the type to use like really he's not like what's his face, Carlin, where he like hits the edge of what's acceptable or not. Like, he's pretty like within the bounds. So the fact that he got fired for that was just egregious already. So automatically people just rallied around him because nobody would have seen that coming. The thing that's absolutely ridiculous is the FCC chair himself said part of the reason why he did that is because it was in line with the Project 2025 manifesto, like their plans for that thing. And when he reinstated the show, this was his quote. I thought it was laughable. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. Full of shit. That was the most half-assed apology I've heard in my life. I'm like, you basically were like, yeah, we're not doing this because you're mad at us. That's it. They're not doing it because it's the right thing. They're not doing it because they support Jimmy Kimmel. They're not doing it because they care about any of us. They're doing it because we didn't want you mad and we don't want to lose our viewership and we don't want to lose our money. That's literally what it tells me. They don't care. They just want their money. They just want their power. And if they have to appease us to get that, they're going to. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I love the people that stay like, I'm still not getting my subscription back. Like, I'm still going to boycott them. Because a lot of these companies are willing to bend down for us to make it look like they care, but behind the scenes, they don't. They really don't. They only want our money. I also, what else was I going to say? Just in regards to the whole shooter situation as well, to me, that's also another sign of how messed up the society is, where they're so ready to pin it on the kid and determine that, oh, well, he's a liberal because he's farther left than his family members who are all MAGA and everything like that. They are more focused on the fact that they're more focused on his political orientation than they are with the fact that he shot a person. And I won't get into it, but I don't believe that he's the person that did it, or at least I don't believe he's the only person that was involved in it, because there are very suspicious things being promoted about the whole process of him shooting. I'll just give my favorite example is that he supposedly brought the gun fully put together in his pants. He walked to the school, and then when he walked to the school in the video, they didn't see the gun anymore. So they're like, oh, he put it in his backpack. And then he crawled on, and this gun takes a really long time to take apart and put back together. And he really, like, even experts can struggle with putting this gun back together. So he supposedly, like, took it apart on his walk and then put it in his backpack, climbed up, reassembled the rifle, then disassembled the rifle, then put it back in his backpack, changed his clothes, then jumped back down, then reassembled the rifle, then threw it in the forest for somebody to find. No. So all of that, I'm like, I don't believe them. Anything that they say about this whole situation, I don't believe it. I don't believe they're honest with who killed him. I don't believe they're being truthful. Like, I don't even trust Trump's response with like, oh, he was so loved. I loved him so much. I'm like, why didn't you go to his funeral then? Why did you go golfing? Like, he doesn't care. No, none of them care. They're just using him as a beacon. They're like, oh, this is the perfect person to throw out there as like the symbol. And that's really all they're using him for. They don't care about him. They didn't care about him before. They don't care about him now. They don't care about his family. They're literally just doing it because it helps them push their agenda.
I'm in Florida where the top dog said this would have woke come to die. You can't hardly protest. You can't film the police within 6 feet. You can't protest inside the Capitol. They just put a fence around the Capitol, a whole fence.
They want to label peaceful protesters under the RICO Act and say that they're terrorists and agitators and stuff like that. All because one woman said that he was the next Hitler near him when he was at dinner.
The Disney thing, they ain't the cleanest neither. His biggest creator, most celebrated creator was black. He never acknowledged them. They went and promoted the LGBTQ, but they've never done anything particularly for people of African descent that I've seen. That's my personal opinion. And that's no slight to the LGBTQ. I actually respect their movement because they get things done. But Walt Disney, and if you look at the old cartoons and all of that, they were horrible with the message that they was getting across. And we look at Disney. Disney is its own country. However, they still pay people minimum wage. People still struggling, and they still pump this thing. And I can tell you straight up, one thing that changed my life, I took the Greyhound bus through Orlando one time. I was flying standby to New York and had to spend the night in the Orlando airport. And in the morning, they told me I might not get out the next day because I was on standby, especially going to New York. The flight's crowded. So I took the Greyhound. I took a bus across town to the Greyhound, and tell me why I end up in the hood. Oh my God. It was the most enlightening, but also one of the most scariest moments I ever had, being 17, having to go through there right, it's like that. But when I seen it, I seen the hood, and I rode past the projects, and I seen all of us out there with the golds and the dreads, because a lot of times I salute the guys down here because a lot of the people with the black state of mind, that was why they grew the dreads. That was why they got the tattoos on their face. They got the golds in their mouth to let the system know that they was going to be rebel and be okay. When I saw that for miles, I was like, oh, it's crazy. It's a hood here. Because, you know, when you see that on TV, you think Disney World. It's Disney World. It must be paradise everywhere. Oh, my God. It must be. And it's the same for New York. You know, they show you Times Square and they show you the Brooklyn Bridge. And you don't realize that most of New York is a hood and a big rat race. So I say that to say that, to piggyback off Sydney, at the end of the day, we're in a state to where you can know everything and understand everything. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of your family. The only thing that gives me a little sense of peace is that I think people were like this from day one. I think people was just tribal. And at the end of the day, they take care of their families. So with this, we've always been violent. And I think a lot of the people, most of the people who continue to spew that rhetoric, nothing happened to them. Because I could guarantee if something like that happens to you or yours, you want to change the rules. So it's easy to pick a scapegoat. It's easy to pick this and to pick that because you ain't never been hit, or something as simple as punched in the face. But when you get punched in the face, it changes your whole perspective about life. And when it happens to your family, regardless of what, like I said, I don't condone violence. From the clips that I did see about this guy, he promoted that. He promoted hatred. He promoted the wrong news, as they say, fake news, unchecked. And he surrounded himself by people who appreciated him going unchecked, to where they ain't even check him. And now that this happens in their backyard, unfortunately, now you want to change the rules, right? But this is the rhetoric that they push, right? Because all of these people of different cultures have been getting murdered for years. Again, every year. And I'm going to say this before I pass the mic. I get a little more aggravated every year, every Martin Luther King Day. When they pump these Bible verses, they pump this peacefulness, they pump this, we should all get along. Y'all ain't get along with that, man. Y'all firebombed his house, y'all threatened his wife, y'all threatened his kids, y'all showed his infidelity, y'all locked him up, y'all threw rocks at him, y'all sick dogs on him, y'all hosed him down. And people would say, oh, well, it wasn't me. Okay, y'all relatives. And guess what? Our relatives still right there. Some of them. And they say, yo, you should be peaceful. Thank your lucky stars. Look in that Bible and thank your maker that you're not one of them. And this is a radio campaign. This is a multi-billion-dollar campaign. Every year when that man was slain violently, broad daylight, in front of all his people, and you name it, they Abraham Lincoln got hit. George Bush got hit. Lee Harvey Oswald got hit. So at the end of the day, it's nothing new. The new thing that got quieted quick was people was able to do something about this stuff. And they stopped that real quick to where not only have we jumped backwards, we jumped back like 100 years, man.
We all celebrate the loss of somebody, but we don't get the privilege of memorializing them in our front yard. I can't just have a 20, 30-foot statue built by my favorite playground or somewhere significant where we both shared moments and turn it into a holiday. I don't like the direction that this is going in. I haven't for a very long time. I don't have nothing against mourning someone. I don't have nothing against freedom of speech. I don't have nothing against people expressing their dissatisfaction with this. What I don't like is the lying. I don't like them playing in our face. And I don't like that they're using someone because of the platform that they had and the reach that they had as a gateway to further cause more problems in order to pretty much keep them in control as long as possible. I really truly believe from the bottom of my heart that every single one of them men and women are descendants in time, here to continue on the work of their ancestors. And between everything that you both said, the things that we are advocating for and promoting, maybe we need to rethink some stuff. I don't want to do anything out of anger. These conversations aren't supposed to be about hate. or like if you're a villain, you're a villain. That does not have nothing to do with your gender or your background. I don't know. Playing on somebody's death, that's just tasteless. That's hella tasteless. That's almost like you pissing on their grave. I don't like it. To everybody who unfollowed, like Disney and places like that, I hope you stay away, because even if you go back, it would be dumb to go back. It don't make no sense. The same reason you left will be the same thing that they're going to be doing, even if you go back. It's like their character didn't change just because, oh, they brought the man back. They're still the same person.
It makes it just a slap on the wrist.
Exactly. So we got to, at this point, we need to go ahead and just stand for something. Man. Pick a side. The whole trophy, the whole statue thing in every campus. That's a bit too much. Maybe if you would have just put it where he went to school, I could understand that. You talking about putting it everywhere? Oh no.
Bro, they ain't say feed the homeless in his name. They ain't say build single mothers' houses. They ain't say help prison reform. They ain't say help the vote work. They said put a statue. And it's crazy because, like, I seen something right now. I was just watching. This is totally off topic, but it's similar. It's like, I just seen something where they said they put in therapy dogs in the schools. They already gave the teachers guns. They do everything. Yeah. The teachers, a lot of in these states, certain states, the teachers could bear arms now, especially if they take their classes. They did everything but pay the teachers, man. You know what I'm saying? Everything but pay the teachers what they deserve, hold the parents accountable. So in this case, you want to put a statue, like, and I can't say there's certain things that I didn't agree, but you want to put a stat. Y'all push that. Wait, didn't they just take the Black History Museum in Washington, D.C. down? Then they try to close that. They knocked the books off. They ain't say bring the books back. They even just did a deal with TikTok, where now they share ownership with a company out here, and that's the solution. Like, so again, like you said, they're just playing in people's face, man. And at the end of the day, it's like this: you either get out or lay down. You don't have no money, get out, lay down. You want some, you want some kind of peace, you better get with the program or get out of here. And it's just becoming more straightforward every day. Like, and again, we are people, we don't change it till we frustrated. When you get tired, then you start doing something about it. When you get tired of going to the doctor, then you change your health. You get tired of being in drama, then you separate from the people you're around. We at a point where, because we can't even get 20 of us to go in the right direction, we don't have the means to fight the stupidity. We was looking at BET last night, and I was talking to my wife, and I'm just like, yo, we don't even own BET. We don't own BET. We don't have a single outlet to voice our professional opinions, our personal opinions, to showcase our skills and knowledge even to the point where I was looking at the games. I've been watching these college games and the NFL. For years, I was mad at myself because I didn't boycott because of the way they did Colin Kaepernick. When you look at these games, most of them is MAGA. So I'm sitting here like, okay, you had an Oregon game, you had an Ohio State game. Who are you watching play? You love them, but you want to make America great again. So it's weird to me that in 2025, broad daylight, no matter what, it's still the same way. The message could be presented this and that, but the behaviors, the terrorism, the hate is still as thick. The tension is still as thick. But people, including myself, still sit there and watch that football game. And I hate it because I know for them that once those players leave those stadiums, they can't get no cab. They ain't safe in Walmart. They ain't safe at Denny's. They ain't safe at the Waffle House. You ain't safe outside of that dorm or wherever they station you. And once you can't do nothing for them, then you gotta go back to normal, to the point where, like I said, for Jesse Owens or when you look, when an American go to another country and win the gold medal, all of a sudden they're American. Gabby Douglas, she was American. Angel Reese, they're American. As long as you win a game, woo, woo, woo. But if you strip that title, you just another Negro. That's a problem, and it's a problem that, like I said, if anything happens, then I know that I was effective. I'd rather go out like that than to just lay down, because at the end of the day, I got to pay bills. But at the same time, I'm always going to fight to a certain extent because I want our children, all of our children, to have a better situation than we did.
At this point, I think as citizens, we really have to do three things. One, it's time to start revisiting our own history. We need to start watching documentaries, reading books, understanding what has happened in the past, because that will give us a better idea of what we're facing in our future. And it also can empower you to figure out what others have done in the past to subvert the type of people that we've dealt with in the past, to prevent them from stealing the democracy. Because there have been times in the past, I mean, not this bad, but there have been times in the past where we have faced situations that required us to push back. And I think it's really, really important for people to start educating themselves, educating people around them, start having conversations with your friends, your family members, particularly those that are either on the fence or are questioning the side that they're on, if they're on that side. Because right now we're at the point that unless you are a 1%er, you are the minority. It doesn't matter whether they want to promote this so much. They want to make it seem like, oh, we care about everyone. We care, particularly like if you're a white male, we care about you. But honestly, if you aren't rich, wealthy, have power, they don't care about you. They're just going to use you for your money. They're going to use you for whatever they can eke out of you. And so it's important to keep that in mind, that all of these people that swear they're going to take care of us and swear that somebody recently said that part of the reason why Trump is such a good president is he's the only one that's been able to bring us together. No, absolutely not. We have to start educating ourselves and understanding what real leadership looks like. This is not real leadership. This is a theft. This is theft of our democracy, theft of our rights, theft of our freedom. And we have to start paying attention. As I said, read books from history, read stuff about now, and become aware of all of your rights. Like, when I found out that he got elected, I immediately went out and bought myself a Declaration of Independence copy and a Constitution copy. And every American should do that. Every American should know what their rights are, because then they understand what's being taken away. I think a lot of people are kind of in this bubble of like, oh, well, it's been fine for the last 250 years, so it'll be fine in the future. No, it's not. If you keep ignoring what's happening, we are going to dig ourselves into a hole that's going to be very, very hard to get out of. So we have to stop it before we're actually in the hole. So there's that. And also take care of yourself. A lot of people neglect that idea, but we have to also make sure that we are uplifting ourselves. We're taking care of our health. We're taking care of our children's health. We are improving our mental health and kind of scaffolding from all of this stuff that's going on, because this type of world right now is very, very overwhelming, and it can be very traumatizing, particularly if you're paying attention to other parts of the world and what's happening there. If you know people of certain groups that are being targeted, if you have people like the fact that we've had over 1,000 migrants, or not migrants, 1,000 prisoners disappeared from Alligator Alcatraz. This is the time that we pull together as a people, because very, very clearly we're not working together, and they're successfully ripping us apart. And that is how they're going to steal the power from us, because once they rip us apart, it'll be much, much harder for us to fight together for all of our rights, because we're going to be fighting with each other, not with them. So we have to find common ground somewhere. We have to recognize that the situation we're in is very dangerous, and to keep ignoring it, to keep pushing it aside, to keep deprioritizing it, is only going to deepen the danger that we're in. I have a poem that I thought would actually fit with the topic. I had written it about, it's called False Idol. It's written about following the wrong crowd and how it can kind of lead you astray. Covert battlefields, perennially beleaguered by the permanently pestiferous, colonized by humanless heathens wrapped in our skin, feeding off hope, festering with false pride, leaching humus from a barren, scorched Eden, now left to wallow in insensitive weeds. As life retreats, look to the drinking gourd. Haunted gardens, yearning for crisp skyward blessings, now lie in empty expanses of skeletal trees, bald-headed in their forsakenness. As they kindly surrendered all of their leaves, dying forests grown from the ichor of vulnerable, faithful fools, following vituperative rules. Oh, frightened fleece, seek the drinking gourd. Now hallowed moments simmer strongly, steeped in seething anger like the damned, grasping through the senselessness, now just seeking reverent hands. Just do as verdurous seedlings do. Pumperare, oh my God, I can't stop. I've not read this in a while. Perumperare terra, break through. Seek your kin and the Lord, inveigled one, follow the drinking gourd. And I had written that with the inspiration of what slaves had gone through. That's where the symbol, the drinking gourd, is, because they use that to help them go north and understand which direction to go. So they'd use the stars. But we have to start working together in the same way that they did, and like pull together and help pull other people through. Like all of this divisiveness that we've been doing is only going to damage both ends. Our real enemy is not each other. Our real enemy is these rich MFs that are stealing our rights, stealing our tax money, stealing our healthcare, stealing our land, stealing our environment. They're doing everything they can to make sure that they are the kings, they have everything, and that we have nothing. And so, yeah, as a group, we really have to come together. Republican, Democrat, whatever, doesn't matter. We the people, that is who needs to fight this, not Democrat versus Republican.
Yeah, I heard it here. Shout out to Sydney. Shout out to Rob. I have nothing to add to it. I think everything that needed to be said tonight was said tonight. Much love to you both. I hope the rest of you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Oh, this is different. I might have to experiment with that. I hope y'all have a good night, man. Drive safe if you're leaving out. Me and Sydney will be back tomorrow morning. Tap in. Outside of that, yeah. Do me a solid before y'all go.
What's the goddamn button?
Hey, real quick, if y'all podcasters start using poems, y'all better shout Sydney out. Stop playing.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, trademark.
And that poem will be in the book that I just finished.
Fire.
Thanks for joining, Chef.
Yeah, shout outs to Chef. Shout outs to everybody that's been in the building with us.
Yeah.
Hold up. I hit the wrong one.
He pushed the button, baby. Quit the cap.
Yeah. All right. Let's try this again. Remix.